Hello, I'm Amy Zawi, and this is Lulu, and this is the Jerusalem Connection Red Alert Report for Wednesday, August 5th. Did you miss the Twitter glitch? Late in July, Twitter's community standards, they have a mechanism that banned the use of the Star of David in posts claiming it was a symbol of hate speech. This resulted in many Jewish or supporters of Jews or Israel to have their accounts be shut down or suspended, or they were locked out of them while they received a note of their violation of the standard. This, all while many a Twitter account holder tweets and retweets the rantings of rap artists and Farrakhan followers and others who post anti-Semitic and anti-Israel sentiments. Not to mention the myriad of tweets coming out of Iran from the Ayatollah calling for a genocide of all Jews. A Twitter walkout, so to speak, was conducted just last week as Twitter users, in protest to Twitter's actions and in support of Jews and in support of people with just common sense and a general sense of knowledge and goodwill and free speech, well, they all decided to go silent on Twitter for 48 hours. That is a hiatus of using the platform. Well, Twitter also released a statement in response to all this, explaining that it was not really the Star of David per se, but it was the gold star banner or armband image that was used during the Nazi era that they had to identify as hateful, and they wanted to delete that from view. And somehow in their algorithm to catch these particular uses of the Star of David, it flagged any use of the Star of David. But that explanation is a bit weak, and it doesn't account for the overall free reign of hate speech that the platform in general allows, including against Jews in particular. The tech giant claimed that many anti-Semitic and Nazi-type groups were using the yellow star armband imagery from World War II in their profiles and posts, and hence that use would fall under their community standards against hateful imagery. However, there are many, many Jews and groups that support Jews that had stars of David on their posts, blue stars or other colors, and there was even one that was actually a collage in yellow of stars of David. Well, these accounts were locked out, and the profile owners were provided messages of their so-called violation and action of committing hate speech. Twitter's response is that the entire thing was a mistake, and they actually thanked the ADL and other groups for bringing to their attention the error that their system had made in flagging all of the uses of Star of David rather than the particular imagery of note. But the point is, many a hateful notion against Jews remain on that site, while advocates and supporters and Jews themselves were, even if temporarily, kicked off the platform completely and shut down and locked out of their accounts, many of whom have quite a following. Keep in mind, the Washington Post article from just last week on July 30 revealed the following, quote, Twitter executives last month rebuffed a request from the Israeli government to remove tweets from Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who called for the genocide of Israeli people. Claiming in their stunning letter obtained by the Washington Post that the Jew hate qualified simply as comments on current affairs. Twitter did not remove these horrific tweets by Iran's Ayatollah and defended their decision, noting again it was simply the Ayatollah was commenting on policy, and that does not violate their hate speech policy. So the apology for the so-called mistake to the Jewish users and others who displayed the star in solidarity and pride is, in my opinion, a bit disingenuous in light of the executive's decisions to allow other Jew hate posts to remain. Telling someone their religious symbol is hateful imagery and that there's a punishment for your display of it, well, that's jarring and a hurtful experience. And it's one that you cannot just overlook and be excused as a technical error. I really believe that someone on that IT side of the Twitter house They knew exactly what would happen, and perhaps even knowing that the community would push back, but they'd have their little moment of hurt and sting for those users. Some just enjoy the jar and stab of pain, and that's enough, and they'll issue their required apology. And allowing the Ayatollahs calling for the genocide of Jews to stay up, well, that's their comfort. Social media sites are indeed supposed to be bastions of free speech and expression, and we're certainly not going to agree with everybody on all things. And some people agree with nobody on anything. But the idea of community standards as baselines for what kind of speech goes over that line of expression and into the arena of vitriol and hate, well, that is perhaps the intent of the poster. And when that poster incites violence against the community, or in other ways condoning it, it just normalizes all that hate, and then it can continue to go on unabated. A myriad of political posts, celebrity posts, university faculty posts, college student leader posts, so many other social justice activists posts all seem to focus a taser of hate onto either Jews or Israel in a variety of contexts, issues, or constructs. And this is the problem. Some hate is openly tolerated, while others are not, that are not even hateful, are censored because of what some programmer or writes into a line of code, or even worse, some standards agent personally decides that he or she doesn't want to see what was posted or have anybody else see what was posted. And that limits the people to engage in discourse and general expression of support or solidarity or even pride in their Jewishness, and then they are silenced. I seem to recall all this happening in history only about 80 some years ago, and the result was tragic, documented, and yet still often denied. The erasing of a people is not a new thing. The term Palestine, for example, is a 2,000-year-old effort by Roman leadership to erase the Jewishness and identity from the piece of real estate in the Middle East that we all know is Israel and Judea, for centuries prior and centuries since. One mistake to erase, one censorship, then reversal, well, that all works as a collective numbing of society's tolerance and the normalization of anti-Semitism. This is the reason why the Twitter incident is noteworthy and should not be simply dismissed as a glitch. Shavua Tov, have a great week, and we'll see you next week.